Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to On the Fringe. This is Dave. I'm here with
And
Gavin.
I'm Gavin.
He is Gavin.
I am. I still am. And today we're talking about what, Dave?
Well, we've got two very big meetings this week. We're going to be talking about the Thai King going to China and Al-Sharaa, the president of Syria, coming to the United States. These are two very, very big meetings. They're somewhat tied together a little bit because of China. This is something, at least for me, I was not expecting either one of these to happen. And just to get you guys caught up a little bit, so the Thai king visited Beijing. The queen recently died, it's a couple weeks ago now, but
Yeah.
this was the first visit to China by a Thai king ever, and it was his first state visit. So this is a huge deal for the Chinese. There was a ton of pomp. There was a lot of Chinese media covering this event. And this is also the first time that a Syrian president has come to the United States. So it's a big meeting on both sides for both of these.
Yeah, just to dive into Thailand for a second, this comes as the Thai military has declared the ceasefire treaty that they signed with the Cambodians about a month ago, under American auspices to basically be suspended. There's been exchanges of fire across the border. There's an incident where a Thai soldier lost his leg in a landmine incident. It's basically a hot border once again. And in the middle of all of this, as you mentioned, Dave, the first visit, this was on November 14th, the first visit ever from a Thai king to China. I think this is a very significant event because I think it is both a symbolic and probably a very practical way of demonstrating that the Thais are looking to really strengthen their ties with the Chinese government and really pivot away, maybe from the more Western orientation it had in the past. And I think all of this is not ideological. I think it all has to do with Cambodia.
Yeah, I think it's Cambodia and it's economics
Yeah.
for Thailand. And I think the Thais are tired of the Cambodians. They're tired of the scam farms. They're tired of Hun Sen. And they need China to do something about this because China really
Hmm.
controls the lever for Cambodia's economy.
Yeah.
And they're going to China and going, hey, look, you guys need to step up and you need to do something to actually stop these border incursions and get the Cambodians to take action against these scam farms and to potentially even bring your troops away from the border. And I have a feeling the Chinese are going to go, okay, we'll do something, even if it is just a show, because they have so much control economically in ASEAN. And just to give you guys some numbers real
Mm.
quick. So, ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, there's a $3.8 trillion economy within 10 countries. Three of these countries, so Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar, border China. You've got Thailand right there, you've got Cambodia right there. So, five countries in ASEAN are literally right on the Chinese border. And then they have a maritime border with the Philippines as well. And China's invested 15.4 billion in ASEAN since 2023, or in
Mm.
2023, excuse me. And prior to COVID, it was only 9 billion. So they've really stepped up their investments in these countries. And in terms of foreign investment, the largest percentage of countries that are getting investment from China is Cambodia. And half of their FDI is from China. It's about 4 billion. And Thailand has lost approximately 4.5 billion in FDI in the last year, more than Cambodia's total. And Thailand needs more FDI. So where are they going to get it? Very likely China.
100%. This is again practical and symbolic. Uh, During the earlier conflict this year, the Chinese were providing weapon systems to both sides. So they were selling weapons to the Thais and they were selling weapons to the Cambodians. in much higher volume to the Cambodians, it must be said, but they were selling to both sides. So my guess is there's probably an offer being made of an economic nature to sway the Chinese uh, to basically not harm the Cambodians. And it's worth noting they wouldn't even have to do anything economically. The Cambodian army is not well equipped, and they are, I would say, entirely dependent for material on the Chinese. So if there was even a delay, let's say, they wouldn't even have to stop selling rockets to the Cambodians. They could just say, "Oh, you didn't fill out the right customs forms. We're going to have to double check some documents. It's going to take 6 to 12 weeks at the port." That would probably be twice or three times the length of a military engagement with the Thais if the Thais decided they were going to be serious. So yeah, I think we're looking at a pretty big realignment out in Southeast Asia, which is echoed in another realignment. Want to talk to us about Ahmed Al-Sharaa in DC, Dave?
This was very interesting. So Al-Sharaa came to the United States. He met with Trump, and from what it looks like, a lot of the US media is saying, "Oh, this is a realignment for Syria. It's, good for both sides." And I'm saying, hold on a second, because
Hmm.
a lot of the US media in the last 6 months to a year, we've started praising Al-Sharaa. You've got to go back and look at who he is and what he did in his past. It's like we seemingly just wipe away everything. This man was a terrorist, and it's like we're not even thinking about the fact that he could be trying to pull a fast one and using his country, Syria, as leverage between the US, Russia, and China. And this guy is very smart politically. He knows what he's doing. And I think we're just completely naive to think he's going to jump over onto our side.
I think, I mean, again, I'm glad you brought it up. This was a guy who was working for Al-Qaeda in Iraq for a long time. I mean, he was there for 3 solid years from 2003 to 2006. He was in an American-run prison until 2011. He, he was fighting the US that entire time. That was his orientation. Al-Qaeda in Iraq was basically the most extreme outfit in the sort of Al-Qaeda aegis. I mean, they were out there both in terms of the methods they used and just ideologically. That's where he's coming from. And I do think you forget that at your peril. People who are looking at this as an opportunity, you also have to remember that the US has a history in this part of the world that is not going to be easily erased from the minds of the people who live there. Particularly, I'd say Sharaa, who again, as you say, and I totally agree. I mean, we both agree on this. He is just one hell of an operator. He, since coming to power at the end of last year, has just done the most incredible PR job. I mean, there are credible and consistent accounts of forced disappearances, massacres, shadowy paramilitary groups, all kinds of really bad, bad stuff going on in Syria right now. And he is the most charming guy in the world. You get him in a conference room, he's got the suit on, he's telling you, yeah, we're trying to be inclusive. And people are buying it because they see an opportunity. They see, oh, maybe a new democracy in the Middle East, maybe a new market. And this is working. I think it is working with the American government at the moment. And I think it's also working with the Chinese government. You just want
Hmm.
to talk about that a little bit more, Dave.
Yeah, so the Chinese are very nervous about the East Turkestan movement and potentially having an uprising in Xinjiang. And this part of China, it's the very western part of China, has
Hmm.
been largely turned into a police state by the CCP.
Yeah.
And you have foreign fighters that are part of the East Turkestan movement that have been training in Syria, and they've been active over there for a very long time. And the
Mm.
Chinese are very nervous about instability coming from Syria and potentially East Turkestan fighters influencing or sending money or sending weapons to Xinjiang to overthrow the CCP. And I think he obviously knows this, Sharaa knows this,
Mm.
and he's probably doing the same thing. I mean, he's a very, very good operator. Like you said, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's playing his charm offensive on everybody.
Yeah.
And the thing that we forget, and I look at him and I look at Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of the first caliphate of ISIS, as being cut from the same cloth. And we would never do this with Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, but we're seemingly doing this with him.
But again, I mean, I think a lot of it's time and place, right? I
Hmm.
mean, Baghdadi saw the way the winds were blowing and he went in his direction, and this guy went in a different direction. But
Hmm.
it's worth noting they 100% knew each other. They were working in the same organization. One of them ended up in one organization, one of them ended up in another. And yeah, and what different places they have ended up today.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
very different places. And I'm sorry, but you look at that and you go, again, just the magic of Ahmed Al-Sharaa. He's not getting blown up in a tunnel, not anytime soon, as far as I can see. Baghdadi, who did run a pretty big chunk of things back in 2014-15, did not have a particularly good end because things just didn't work out. This is how things are in politics sometimes. With Al-Sharaa, things seem to be working out. But as you mentioned, I think that's a very astute point about the China angle. This is a guy who's spinning so many plates, you know? He's got so much in the air that's moving. And right now, just through sheer momentum and force of personality, and I think some strong diplomatic and monetary help from the Gulf states, he's keeping everything moving. But I think there's some things that could derail that. Probably the neighbor to the south, the state of
Hmm.
Israel, might not be helpful in that way. Also, if the situation really cools down with the Chinese, if something happens, there are a lot of things that could go wrong. But for right now, man, you just look at that guy and you go, what a balancing act.
Yeah, he's good. And I think that should be the message that people who are making decisions need to recognize first and foremost. This guy is very good at what he does. And we shouldn't take anything other than what actually comes our way and not sit here and
Mm.
go, oh, we're trying to make this fit into a box. We need to look at these just completely without emotion and going, he's doing this, he's playing all of these sides, he's very skilled. So if we're going to be negotiating with him, we need to be very skilled as well. And he obviously has a lot of people in a lot of places. Do we?
Oh, I think that's a billion-dollar question, Dave. I think that's a really good one. And on that note, we're going to say thanks for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Share with anyone you think might be interested. I feel like this is a pretty good, if you want to get someone into the podcast, throw
Hmm.
them this one. I think it's a good entry point, as it were. We appreciate our community and stick around. We got more on the fringe coming your way.